Hello and welcome to this introductory episode for Asher. Asher is my modded Skyrim playthrough. Asher is the main character that we're going to be basing the entire story and series around. So I'm making this episode to kind of give you a preface to what the series is and who the main character is. So let's talk about what the series is. First of all, I will be speaking as Asher in a roleplay sense, but I'll also be speaking as the narrator, giving instructions, or not instructions, but giving details of Asher's feelings and thoughts and emotions and stuff like that. We'll also have some mod talk in there if any mods change throughout the series, but that'll be minimal. Some other things we'll be doing, we'll be skipping load screens, we'll be skipping long loot sessions. So if I go around and kill a whole bunch of people, I'm only going to show you the highlights of the loot. I'm not necessarily going to show you, me going through each individual person's loot. I'm going to be skipping long repeated travel. So if I travel, a long distance and I've already traveled that distance before, or that path before, I'm not going to show it to you. I'll just show you the highlights if something interesting happens along the way. Along with that, as you may have guessed, we will not be using the fast travel. However, I have no problem with using the carriage system, so we'll be using the carriages plenty, I'm sure. I do plan on getting a horse as well, so we'll be using that. I'm going to be playing the game not just to create a story around the character of Asher, but I'm also playing it because I want to experience new things in the game. Like, I never really played any of the DLCs. I've never done the Thieves Guild. There's a couple of different stories and quest lines within the game that I've never played. I want to experience those, and we're going to experience them as Asher. I'm also going to be playing without music on, but I'm going to add it later in post-production. The reason for this, a lot of times in Skyrim, like specifically when you're finished with a battle, the battle music will keep playing even when the battle's over. So that's kind of a thing that drives me nuts. And I feel like this way I can really customize the music to how I want the mood to be for the video. I'm also going to be turning off the radar. I'm only going to use it when I really just can't find something, or if the game says I'm in combat and I can't figure out where the enemy is, I'll turn it on and use the red dots, to find them. But otherwise, I'm trying to go for total immersion. And to me, having a compass up there showing you where everything is not very immersive. Likewise, I'm going to have the sneak indicator off. So when I'm sneaking, I won't be able to know if someone sees me or not, which is going to kind of make things difficult. But again, it's going to make things different and make me experience the game in a different way. So that's kind of the basis for what Asher is as far as a series. We'll talk more about that later when I go through the specific mods that I'm using, which is rather extensive. And if you're interested in that, but not, hearing all this, by the way, there's links in the description to get to all the different parts of this video. So who is Asher? Well, Asher was born in Skyrim. And then his family left, though, soon after he was born. They left Skyrim. Unfortunately, we don't really know why. Asher was never told why. He just knows that they've moved away from Skyrim and that they're now living in a small community in the Great Forest in Cyrodiil, which I'll show you a map of right now so you can get an idea of where that is. Cyrodiil is the land that took place, or where Oblivion took place, the game previous to Skyrim. Basically, they're just living in this secluded community away from the rest of the world. If you've seen the movie The Village, think The Village. Okay, it's just a small community of people. They're basically just farmers. They just farm the land and have crops, and that's how they survive. They're just their own self-surviving community. So Asher is now 25 or 26 years old. It's been that long since they've moved away from Skyrim, and he's grown up not knowing anything but that community, and he's not known anything but being a farmer. But he also knows he doesn't want to be a farmer. He wants to be something else. He doesn't even know what it is because he doesn't know what opportunities are out there in the world for him. All he knows is that his dad is really focused on them being farmers and them staying in this secluded community of people and not going anywhere else, not having dreams of anything else. It's almost like his dad is scared of people leaving. And his dad is so focused on the work of keeping the community together that he's actually kind of like neglecting the family in a sense. And so he gets really upset. Asher's father gets really upset when Asher starts talking about, having dreams of doing other things with his life, because in his dad's opinion, there is no other option, which of course drives Asher nuts. And so anytime Asher goes on to talk about, oh, I'd love to know what this is like, or I'd love to know if I'm good at this, it gets really, Asher's dad gets really tense and uncomfortable and kind of forceful with Asher to say, no, this is who we are. This is who we're going to continue to be. Asher has a younger brother. His name is Aaron, and Asher's younger brother is probably about, 16, 17 years old, old enough to start taking on more mature responsibilities, most namely like hunting. That's Asher's job. Asher is the hunter. If you want to compare him to Katniss Everdeen from Hunger Games, he's kind of a Katniss character. He goes off and he catches the deer and the birds and the rabbits and brings them home for everybody to eat. And so Asher's been spending some time training his younger brother in how to hunt, knowing good and well that if he leaves, someone else needs to take his place in that. Now, Asher's mother is who he's the closest to. He loves his mother, and his mother is very understanding of Asher's dreams. However, she's also respectful of her husband's wishes and enforces his rules of them not leaving, and she tries to keep his dreaming conversations subdued, so to speak. His mother has told him stories of Skyrim, however, much to the dismay of Asher's father. But the stories are usually very vague, and they're kind of like bedtime stories where Asher's not sure what's true and what's not true about Skyrim. So anyways, after all these years and all these struggles he's gone through with specifically with his dad and living this life that he knows he's not supposed to live, he knows he's meant to do something else with his life. Asher has finally decided that it's time to leave this life and go find his place in the world. He wants to go back home to Skyrim to discover his purpose. So it's at this time that he leaves his mother a note saying goodbye, which this part specifically is in the trailer. If you haven't watched the trailer to the show, to Asher, go check that out. You can actually hear and read the note that Asher wrote to his mother. And Asher then, promises his mother that he's going to write to her as soon as things settle down in Skyrim and he kind of finds his place. And that's where we begin our story. We begin our story with Asher entering Skyrim, and that's where the journey begins. So that's who Asher is, and that's what Asher is. Now we're going to have a little bit of talk about the mods I'm going to use. All right, so let's talk about what mods I'm going to be using. First of all, this is going to be a quick rundown of the mods I'm going to be using, and then when we get into the game, I actually have to go in and double check all the settings for a lot of the mods, and so we'll talk more specifically about how different mods will be set up. So we're just going to go top to bottom here. Bethesda Performance, Textures, Animals, and Creatures. This is basically a mod that does some things to the textures for different animals and creatures that makes them lower, or makes it lower, less taxing on the computer. I've got a couple of performance mods just to make sure I'm running at a good solid 40 to 60 FPS. Then we've got Immersive Horses, which is kind of the new version of Convenient Horses. Convenient Horses is great, but it's a bit heavy. It has a bit more resource. It's a bit more of a resource hog. Immersive Horses is newer, and it has, I don't know if I'd call it less features, but it has the features that I want specifically, and not on anything else really. So I'm going to be using Immersive Horses. That allows us, by the way, to like whistle for our horse and do stuff like that. Our horse can carry stuff for us and all that sort of thing. 360 Walk and Run Plus. This basically accomplishes one thing. It allows me to get camera angles where Asher is walking toward the camera, because normally in Skyrim he would be backing up, if that makes sense. Normally if you hit back, your character backs up. Now this only happens when his weapon is sheathed. It's not when it's out. So when his weapon's out and you press the S key to go backwards, you actually back up. But when you sheathe your weapon, he actually will turn around and walk toward the camera, which is pretty cool. And I want to do shots like that, so I have that on there. I think it also does some other things. Can't remember exactly. It doesn't really tell me over here, does it? Nope. Then we've got Daedric Reaper armor. That's just an armor set. Nothing too special there. I've got a lot of weapons and armors, so we're not going to really talk about those in specific, but I'll list them. Then we've got Immersive Armors, which is a huge armor set. Audio overhaul for Skyrim. I'm trying that, but I think it's going to crash the computer. Sorry, not the computer. It's going to crash the game. I really want to use Immersive Sounds Compendium Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and uninstall Audio Overhaul because I know it's not gonna work. I wanna use one of those, but for some reason it's crashing. Now, I don't know why. Maybe it's crashing because I have Silent Hero. I bet that might be the issue. Silent Hero is something I installed so that you don't hear Asher breathing. Because I feel like that's kind of a disconnect, because you hear me talking and breathing, but then you hear Asher talking and breathing. I'm gonna try that actually, now that I think about it. So I was gonna use that, but I'm gonna uninstall that now and reinstall Immersive Sounds Compendium. Yeah, we'll do that later because that's kind of a lengthy process. Then I've got Sounds of Skyrim installed, the Civilization, the Dungeons, and the Wilds. Basically, this adds sounds to the game. These change sounds in the game, but these add sounds to the game. Like more animals in the wild, more sounds of like kids playing and stuff like that in towns and stuff, cool stuff like that. Then we've got the Safety Load fix, which is basically just a precaution to make sure I don't get locked up in a load screen. Cloaks of Skyrim, which obviously as it sounds, it gives us cloaks to wear, which is important for another mod later. Winter is Coming, which is more cloaks, but these cloaks are designed after cloaks in, I almost said Song of Ice and Fire, from Game of Thrones. Remove underwater grass. This is another performance mod. Why do I really care about grass underwater? So we've removed the grass. Skyrim Performance Plus Pine Needles. This does a quick fix on pine needles that makes them not bog down the computer, because there's a lot of pine needles like falling from the trees, and that basically just like improves them somehow. I don't remember what it is exactly. Vivid Weathers. This is the new hip Climates of Tamriel. Climates of Tamriel is cool, but I like Vivid Weathers. It's a lot newer than Climates of Tamriel. Now Climates is still really good, but I like Vivid Weather better. Vivid Weathers better. Then we've got No NPC Greetings, which actually I don't really need that now because of another mod I got, so I'm going to uninstall that one. No NPC Greetings means people don't just randomly walk up to you and start telling you their life story, but we'll get back to why I don't need that in a minute. Random Alternate Start. This is what is allowing us to skip the beginning sequence where we're arrested and we go through the dragon attack at Helgen, and it just puts us in one of like 200 something locations, 463 locations. And I actually went through and I kept spawning in different locations. I needed to pick a location that was on the south border, and I found one that works perfectly, so it's beautiful. It also allows us to pick a starting class, which for Asher we chose Archer because it's the closest thing I could find to a hunter, because that's who he is. He uses a bow and he goes hunting, so he's an archer. But depending on which class you choose makes a difference in what starting equipment you get. This is a really cool mod just to allow you to play Skyrim from a totally different perspective because you start at a totally different place. Oh, and what it does is it gives you a quest to go investigate Helgen. So you do go to Helgen and see Alduin, fly away, but that's it. Run for Your Lives is quite the essential mod in my opinion, both for immersion and for game sanity. I guess is a good way to call it. It drives me nuts when a dragon attacks the village and kills basically everybody. This makes people run to their houses when a dragon comes. It just makes sense. Simply Knock allows us to knock on people's doors, and maybe they'll let us in, maybe they won't. Skyrim Community Uncapper. This is going to allow us to put basically unlimited amounts of skill points, perks, into skills, which is really, really cool. It also, and I need to change this setting, I need to take it down one. It also can allow us to get more perks per level gained. So right now I have it set at 3. I think I might change it down to 2. 3 seems like it might be too overpowered. And here's my thought process. I'm using another mod that we'll get to in a second that changes a lot of the abilities, or a lot of the perks. So I really want to try out a lot of them. So I kind of want a lot of perk points, but I don't want that to make the game too easy. So on the flip side of that, I can make the game quite more difficult for me. So we'll play around with that, but for right now, I think I'm going to leave it at 3 perk points per level. Trade and barter, I don't know how much I'm going to actually use this. I think I have it off in the game. It basically makes the trading and bartering like better, more fair prices and stuff like that. Campfire allows us to create a campfire, that may seem obvious, but we can build a campfire, and I think we can even like set up camp. Yeah, it's a camping mod, so you can build a campfire, build a tent, and it allows you to sleep like outside in your tent. That's important for another mod we'll get to in a minute. It works together with another mod. Then we've got equipping overhaul. This is really cool. What it does is it allows you, wait, what is this one? Oh, this is the one that, like, let's say I have my bow out. Well, normally in Skyrim, if I have my bow out, you wouldn't also see the axe that I was just using on my hip. Well, with this mod, any weapons that you're not using but are in your favorites, not all of them, but the top ones, the ones that are in your favorites will appear on your hip or on your back. So it's more immersive because it's not like, well, where did that axe just come from? Well, it came from your hip. This game does that. It also has a feature that I'm not using where if you fast switch between weapons, you drop the weapon that was in your hands. I'm not using that. Frostfall. This is a biggie. This is the one that works with campfire. Frostfall is a survival mod. This is a mod, think of it like turning turning Skyrim into DayZ. You know how in DayZ, like you're always having to fight hunger and thirst and cold and stuff like that? Yeah, that's what Frostfall does. You have to worry about rain. You have to worry about being wet. You have to worry about being cold. You have to worry about being hungry. Now, I have it set to where it won't kill me. It'll just make me really, really bad at fighting and like moving and stuff like that. So Frostfall makes it much more immersive and also much more difficult. There's more micromanaging to do. But what's cool is like it makes you not go out at night because it gets colder and stuff. So what you do is you use your campfire mod and you build a campsite and then you sleep through the night wherever you are. And it's really cool. It's really immersive. Speaking of immersion, we've got, actually this whole section is immersion. Then we have immersive citizens. Now this is the mod that allowed me to take off the no NPC greeting because it has it built into this mod, which I wonder if I need to reinstall this. I think it'll be okay. Immersive citizens, what that does is the NPCs in town that aren't like super important, but like have a job to do or have a relationship with another citizen, they will interact with each other and do their job. So if one of them, if their job is a hunter, every like 2 or 3 days, they'll go out and they'll hunt. They will actually go out and hunt, leave the city, and then come back to the city. If they're a farmer, like usually a farmer will like just mess around with their crops, but now like the wheat farmer like goes and repairs his mill and stuff like that. It's really, really interesting stuff. Or even, I think, I heard in a video where they were talking about like if two citizens in a town have a secret hidden romance, they will both leave the town to like have a little date and have a conversation. Like how cool is that? One minor drawback to it is if you need that character for something, which I don't think happens very often. I think they mostly used unimportant characters. But if you need that character for some quest, you have to go find them or wait for them to come back to town. But that's very immersive. Then we got immersive patrols, which is basically like, you know, groups of characters of soldiers like patrolling, you know, the areas and stuff of Skyrim. It works as well with Frostfall very similarly. Basically that's the one that makes you need to drink, sleep and eat. What that is. It's pretty simple. And actually Frostfall, the people who made Frostfall are making a mod very similar to I Need, but it's not out yet. It's not coming out until later this year, so I may be switching to that one. Then we've got Pumping Iron. This is a mod actually made by Gopher himself, which is pretty cool. So what Pumping Iron does is it allows you to see your character develop muscle as you're playing the game. So Asher's not a big guy. He's pretty scrawny. I mean, I didn't make him the smallest figure, but he's pretty small. Well, as the game goes on, and it's a really long term thing, as the series goes on, we're going to see him developing muscle and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which is really cool. And he made a really cool system. It's not just, oh, I go out, fight people, and I develop muscle. No, you go out and fight people, but you also then have to go rest. The muscles don't develop until you've rested. So there's kind of a really cool realism to that. Real Shelter hasn't been working, I don't think, at least not in some places. What Real Shelter does is it makes sure that rain isn't raining where it's not supposed to rain. Like if you're under an awning, there's no rain. That's basically what that does. Skyrim Enhanced Camera. I don't remember what this one does exactly. This is an SKSE plugin that enables a visible body while maintaining the look and feel of vanilla first person and requires minimal configuration. It uses a hybrid mode when both the first person arms and third person body are visible. Also, any points where the game forces switches to third person, setting, crafting, riding, werewolf, knockout, death, etc., are now in first person. Now, this is a mod that I want to tweak if I can. I don't know if there are settings for this. Basically, this mod allows you to stay in first person for basically everything, which is cool. I like that. It's an immersive thing. But it's annoying when I go to do alchemy, because if I don't go to third person first, if I'm in first person when I go into alchemy, it's, you know when you're doing alchemy in Skyrim, how your character kind of sways back and forth as he does the mortal and pestle. He like mixes up the herbs and stuff. Yeah, you see that movement, and it's kind of dizzying. Then we've got wet and cold, which also is it kind of works along with Frostfall in that it's a visual representation of when you're cold and when you're wet. Like when it's snowing, you get snow build up on you. When it's wet, water is dripping from you and stuff like that. So that one's pretty cool. Then we've got some magic spells and stuff. We've got the Apocalypse Magic of Skyrim, which is it just adds a whole bunch of more spells to Skyrim. Now, I did this even though I'm not planning on Asher doing much magic. Who knows? Maybe he will. I'm not really positive on that yet. I have no problem with him going with a magic route. It's just that it might not happen immediately because he's an archer. Then we've got Midas Magic Evolved, which is another set of magic. So there's a lot of cool spells and stuff that can be done, and I think the bad guys can use some of them too, but I'm not positive on that. Then we've got Winter Mist Enchantments of Skyrim. We'll definitely do some enchanting, and this adds more enchantments, some really cool ones too. Skyrim Flora Overhaul, which basically makes the trees and bushes look way better. The Notice Board Redefined. Well, we'll talk about the Notice Board in a second. This just makes the Notice Board look better. Falscar, which is a kind of a DLC sized quest line, which we'll be doing that, and Worm's Tooth as well, which is kind of a DLC sized quest line, which is really cool. Deadly Dragons. This adds in how many different types of dragons? I think like 20 something. I can't remember. There's a bunch of different dragons that this mod adds, and it makes all the dragons more difficult. So I did that. Percus Maximus. This is probably the big granddaddy of them all that I added. Percus Maximus changes the whole perk system, and it changes just a lot of things about the game. It's a really, really cool mod, so I'm really excited to use that. There's way too much to talk about. Again, we'll be talking about more of the details of what some of these do here in a minute when we actually go into the game. Then there's the unofficial high resolution patch, and then the unofficial Skyrim Legendary Edition patch. Then there's the Notice Board. The Notice Board is inspired by the Witcher 3 games, where there's a quest board. And the Notice Board is basically what it sounds like. It's a quest board, as you can see over here, a little picture. That's in each town, and you can get quests from it if you want them. The Notice Board Redefined that I looked at earlier, see how this mission board looks kind of dull and boring? Yeah, it fixes that. Then we've got Better Stealing. What Better Stealing does is if you steal something, and you're not caught, it's not marked as stolen unless it's at a certain value. If something is obviously, like if you steal jewelry and it's very expensive, people are going to know it's stolen because they will have reported it. It does some other things too, I think, but that's the main thing that it does. A quality world map, which gives us a really, really nice world map to work with. Better dialogue controls, basically just makes it work better with mouse and keyboard when you have like dialogue and stuff, options to choose. Immersive HUD, or iHUD for short, which is also made by Gopher, basically allows us to get rid of, I talked about earlier that I wanted to get rid of the compass. It gets rid of that for us. It hides the health, the stamina, the mana, and all sorts of stuff, but we can bring it back when we need it, or if we're hurt, the health bar will appear. So it's pretty cool. I really like iHUD. Main menu is one you'll probably never see. It basically makes the main menu match the look of Sky UI, which is the next one. Sky UI is another essential mod for anyone playing Skyrim on a PC. It basically makes the interfaces more mouse friendly. That's the best way to describe Sky UI. Unread Books Glow. This is another one that I love. In Skyrim, it always drove me nuts because I liked looking at the books, and we'll probably take some time to read some books. I have a feeling that Asher's going to need to rest every now and then, and so Asher's going to read some of the books. So Unread Books Glow means if you see a book that's glowing, you haven't read it yet, which is really nice. I think it also tells us if a book has a certain skill that it will give us if we read it. Then we have detailed terrain and tree LOD. Basically, that makes the distant trees and terrain look better. Footprints, which gives us footprints in the snow, which is a nice little immersion thing. Immersive saturation boost. You're going to notice in my Skyrim playthrough, it's much more colorful. And maybe you won't notice because by the time I render it and YouTube renders it and stuff, it'll lose some color, but it looks pretty striking and beautiful because it's super colorful. Pure Waters basically makes the water look nice. Skyrim Hyper Performance Boost for low-end computers. I don't know what this does. It does stuff to certain INI files and it makes it run about 4, 5 to 6 frames per second better, so I'll keep it around. The Skyrim Distance Overhaul Beta, which works alongside this terrain tree LOD. Basically, it makes distant terrain look better. Then for weapons, that's basically what we got left. Immersive weapons, which is similar and by the same people who made immersive armors that I mentioned earlier. It's just a huge set of weapons. Jesus swords, Sword of the Ancient Tongues, Uniques, which is another big set of weapons. Bethesda Performance Texture, Armor, Clothes, Weapons. That basically makes that just makes the textures for certain weapons and armors, lighter on the computer. Dagger of Vaemina, Dark Scout, Deacon's Dark Brotherhood Pack, Dragon Weapon Pack, Dragonbone Weapons, Ethereal Weapons. That's or ethereal. I thought it was ethereal. Whatever. Farinelli's Hammerfall Armor or Hammerfell Armory, Grey Orcish Weapons and Armor, Heavy Armor, New Weapons, Honoris the Holy Claymore, Hunter and Ranger Crafting, Inferno Weapons and Armor Sets, Nightingale Bow Assassin Enchantment Mod, Paladin Armor Set and Artifacts, Real Bows, which is one I really like, Shields of Skyrim, the God Sword of Gailinor. Oh, that's from RuneScape? Oh, that's funny. The Omen Sword, Tools of Kagranak from Morrowind, and Weapon Variants Expansion. Basically, I love loot. If I have one complaint about Skyrim, it's that it didn't have enough of it. And so I just basically added every weapon set that I liked. I tried not to do anything that was too immersion breaking. And for me, I did do the RuneScape one, but I don't know RuneScape, so that doesn't mean anything to me. I just thought these weapons looked really cool, so I added them. And they're kind of out there and far-fetched, but who knows? I threw all of them in there because you don't know which ones you're going to find now. It makes it really exciting. So now that we're done with the quote-unquote quick run through of the mods, next we're going to be in the game taking a look at the mods and what settings we're going to use, and then we'll be ready to jump into episode 1 next time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into the game. I've just got to find my proper save point. I have a lot of game saves in here right now because of doing testing and stuff. I believe it's 35, that's it. So you're going to see a quick little snippet. Hopefully we don't have any issues loading. Yes, continue loading. You're going to see a little snippet of where we're going to be, but then I'm going to go into the menu pretty quick. We're actually going to wait like a minute or two. We'll talk about some things before we get started. I am so anxious to start playing this, but I have to make sure that you have to give it time to load certain mods. Like mods have to kick into gear, so to speak. So now it's adding mods and stuff like that. So I'm just going to come walk over here and look at a wall for the time being is what we're going to do. And y'all are hearing the game audio, correct? Looks like you are. Yes, okay. So let's back out for a minute. We're just gonna sit here for a minute. Actually, well, should I go in? I'm pretty hungry. What? Okay, here's what. Oh yeah, that's one of the features I forgot to tell you about with wet and cold. Did you see my breath breathing? Wait for it. Isn't that cool? Okay, I think we're available or capable of going in here now. So let's talk about our mods. First of all, before I forget, I'm gonna come in here to this one and turn this one off for the time being. Yes. All right, so let's go through, make sure all of our settings are right. I'm actually gonna go out to the regular settings first and check a few things. We're going to play on Adept. Yeah, we're going to try Adept at first. I may bring it down. Not positive yet. Everything looks good there. Okay. Display. Yeah, that's all. That's dialogue. Yep. General subtitles. Yep. Okay. Audio. I wanted effects a little bit higher. Quiet phone. Yeah, let's turn that up a little bit more. Footsteps, let's have that up a little bit as well. Music's all the way down. I really want this to be for you guys. I really want this series for you to be what Gopher's series is for me. Like, his is a series where a lot of times I'll just listen. I won't even watch. And he does such a good job of, like, verbalizing what's going on, even without being specific. Like, you can just kind of know what's going on by listening. I'm hoping to do that for you guys, and part of that is the sound and atmosphere from the game, like the sound effects and whatnot. So we definitely want to have those effects up. Okay, so now we're ready to go into the mod configuration menu. Configuration. Hello, can I go into it? There we go. So apocalypse spells. There's not really anything to do in here, but we're gonna go through all of them and look at all of them. Just to be safe. And sometimes it does this, just FYI, in case you deal with, in case you do some moddings, you just gotta exit and go back into it. It'll load this time. Alteration, but let's see, there's all these things that I don't know. These are things that need to be like tinkered with. I'm just gonna leave them to the default. So nothing really to do here. Campfire. Gameplay. Player removes gear in tents. Yeah, that's just an aesthetic thing. Camping illegal in settled areas. Camping equipment can burn. I don't want to burn my stuff in case I'm too close to a fire. That doesn't matter to me. That's not a huge immersion thing. Camping illegal in settled areas. I was torn on this one, but I felt like if I'm safe, I should be able to set up my tent. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm somewhere where I'm safe, there should be no reason for me to not be able to set up my tent. Survival skill, quick keys. I don't know that I'm going to remember these, but I may have to look them up a lot. But create item, build campfire are the two most important ones. And then harvest wood and instincts. I don't know what instincts are exactly. Yeah. Player tent behavior. Remove armor and clothing. No, we just want to remove gear. Although that would be pretty funny to get naked every time. Remove gauntlets and gloves. Remove backpack. Remove weapons, shield, ammo. Okay, that's fine. Follower behavior. Followers interact with campsite. Yes. Followers remove gear and tents. Yes. Advanced. Advanced object placement. If enabled, the placement indicator will follow where you look and move and snap to the slope of the terrain. This allows for very precise placement. If you experience performance salons, okay, no, so I want that. Track followers. If enabled, campfire will track 3 of your nearest followers in your pet. This enables features like followers sleeping in the bedrolls of tents. If disabled, all followers features in camp. Okay, that's fine. Equipping overhaul. Enable or disable an equipping overhaul compatibility workaround. Oh, I've got equipping overhaul, so let me... By enabling this option, you allow campfire to press the geared up hotkey for you automatically when sitting or laying... Oh, so I don't need to do that because I don't use the geared up part, I don't think. Camping. Ooh, oh, there's camping skills. Oh, that's cool. That's neat. Okay. Shouldn't need anything with help. And profiles is fine. Okay. Moving on to deadly dragons. So this is a really cool one. So here's where we can set the difficulty. Right now I'm setting it to vanilla. I may raise it to expert, but for now we're just going to go with vanilla. They can stagger, they can use special skills, they can knock down, and their combat behavior is default. You can go to less flying if you want to cheat, or no landing if you want it really hard, but I just want it to default. You can set up assaults so that you can get a more guaranteed frequency of dragon attacks. I'm not going to deal with that. I just want it to be random. Important NPCs are essential. I'm going to say yes to that so that nobody dies that doesn't need to die. This is a cool thing that allows me to convert dragon souls to perks. So I'm just going to have it at 2. So if I have 2 souls that I don't want to use, I can turn them into perks. Now, obviously, that's more end game. when you have like stocked up on dragon souls, then you don't have any words to unlock. Call reset, or sell reset word. No, don't worry about that. Weight, you can change the weight of the dragon bones. Not going to do that. Store setting, if enabled, sell reset and weight settings will be stored. Okay, that's fine. All right, so that's it for deadly dragons. Equipping overhaul. By the way, I don't know if I clarified. The reason I'm going through this is I have to do it, and I have to kind of talk myself through it. So I figured, why not put it in the video? You know what I mean? Like, some of you I know are wanting to do some of these and or use some of these mods, and this is more than just, oh, I use this mod. Well, no, you need to kind of understand how I'm using it. So in the future, when I talk about modding, or like if I do any changes, I can quickly show you I changed this from this to this, and you'll kind of understand. So here's the geared up. Oh, I do use geared up. Enable the geared up feature, allowing you to display favorited gears on your character. Okay, so I do want to enable that other one. Wait, enable the geared up feature, allowing you to display your favorite. Okay, I just want that on. But I guess I should I enable a hotkey for it, I guess? Fine, let's do it, and let's just set it to like asterisk on the number pad, that's fine. Display shield, yeah, display all those things, that's fine. I do not use realistic unequip, so let's unenable that. Or disable is the word I was looking for. Lit torches, enable lit torches. Let's not worry about a hotkey for that, that's no big deal. And we don't want to uninstall, so that's good there. Let's go back to campfire, advanced, and let's put on equipping overhaul. Good. Footprints. Shouldn't need to change anything here. Total NPCs with footprints. Oh, that should be more. Oh, that's just showing me how many there are. That's not a change. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine. I don't need to change anything here. Frostfall right now is disabled. I think for right now I'm going to disable it. Here's the reason why. I'm starting the game in a random area, and I'm already hungry, and I'm already going to be cold. Let's just assume that I'm not hungry right now. Let's just assume that I'm not cold right now. We're going to break immersion just a little bit, but not that big of a deal. So we're going to turn on Frostfall, and I need, once we reach like the first big town, is probably what we'll do. Because then I can buy clothing and food and stuff like that. So we're not going to look at that one just yet. Immersive armors, this is basically just for us to be able to say if we can craft the item, or if the item is found in the world. I just leave that to the defaults. There's no reason not to, really. Different things here. I don't think there's anything here I really need to mess with. Okay. Immersive citizens. I have not looked at this yet, so I'm really curious to look in this menu. And it's not loading, so we're going to back out. General. Citizens living in vanilla cities. Okay, yeah, so that's just enabling them. Factions. Companions. Why can't I not select those? I guess that's not in the mod yet. Okay, so it's just enable and disable there. Weather factor. Oh, that means when it's like raining or cold, the people will act differently. Like if their job's not that important, they'll leave their job. Like if they're just like selling flowers or like have a food stand, they will leave and go home. All right, immersive horses. This is one thing I need to work on. This is when you use the activate key, in my case E. When you press that on the horse, standing activation should be ride. Okay. Whoops. That's not what I meant to. What? That's not immersive horses. That took me back to immersive citizens. Sneaking activation, I'm going to do open inventory. And then mounted activation, I guess show menu. No, I want it to dismount. And I think there's a way to have it show the menu otherwise. Or I guess I should. Well, what are the other things in the menu? Talk, search. I don't need to do that. Show stats. I don't care about show stats. So that's really all it needs to be. So I just need to sneak to open up the inventory, okay? Okay, protect horses. Enables the protected flag on all of your horses to protect them from death by anything but the player. So I'm allowed to kill my horse, but no one else is. No, I want my horse to be able to die. Mounted spellcasting, that sounds good. Horses ignore combat. Instructs horses to ignore combat entirely and neither fight back nor flee. Actually, I kind of want to do like protects horses and horses ignore combat because I don't want the horse getting in the way in combat. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because I don't want the horse in the way in combat. I wish I could do the horse flees, but that's not a thing apparently. Last horse fast travel, no. Perma stolen horses. Forces horses to always maintain stolen so you can never gain ownership of a stolen horse. No. Show status messages. Enable the display of status messages when horses are claimed, dismissed, followed. Yeah, that's fine. So last ridden horse hotkeys. Okay, so I need a whistle key. I could do that with H, I suppose, to whistle for the horse. Horse menu key. Hotkey to show the option menu for your last. Shows the horse selection menu. Okay, let's just do that. Let's just do H, and then I should be able to do all those things for the horse, I'm assuming. Oh, there's a lot more down here I didn't see. Loot corpses while mounted. Enables the ability to loot corpses while mounted by using the talk command, okay? Allow horses in cities. No. Wait. No. Add horses powers to player. Adds the horse powers for whistle and horse menu to the player. That's fine. Fast dismount weapon draw. Enables automatic weapon draw when you fast dismount the horse. Yes. But how do I fast dismount? There's a way to do it, and I'm not sure. Disable trample effect. Disables the horse trample damage and knock down. Disable kick effect. No. Okay. Then over here we've got toggle trot key. Hotkey to shift to trotting when your horse is walking, or shift to trotting when your horse is cantering. Okay. Tap the key to shift back. Meant for use with the normal walk run key. Oh, meant for use with the normal walk run key. Okay, so that will be Alt. This key's already mapped to sprint. No, let's just see if it automatically does it. I'm not gonna mess with that. Oh, here's where you do the. Oh my goodness, I can do like specific types of dismounts. That's cool. Let's just do a rear. I have X bound to something. Is Z bound to anything? Oh, that's shout. Oh, well, I want shout to be something else anyways. Oh, well, I think. Yeah, let's... Is V something? V was not anything, so we can do that. V will be dismount. That makes sense because... Okay, that makes sense to me visually. That's good. Herd hotkeys. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. Probably not going to have herd of horses. Immersive HUD. A very important thing to mess with. Activation. Okay, we want the iHUD hotkey to be X, and we want the key press toggles. Good. Active effects always on. No, I don't want that. Active effects on key, yes. Active effects on combat, yes. What this is any active effects I have, like, I don't know, like my leg's broken, or not that, but, you know, like I've been poisoned or something like that. If I press the X key, or if I'm in combat, that will show up. Otherwise, it won't be there. Crosshair always on, off. I don't want the crosshair always on. When looking at activatable, yes. When wielding a melee weapon, no. When wielding a ranged weapon, yes. When wielding a spell, yes. Options. Stealth indicator enabled, off. Enemy health indicator enabled. Yeah, I'm okay with that, because I want to know how much damage I'm doing and if I need to change. Hide shout meter with compass, no. Force crosshair to hide. I don't know why we need to do that. I'm not going to worry about those fast fades. Refresh rate's fine. Okay, transparencies. Compass. Compass is fine because it's usually not there. I'm not going to use it too much. Crosshair, that's fine. These I want down a good bit. 50 sounds good to me. I wish you could just do... I wish it was the same for all of them. Like, I don't know why you'd want one more than another. You know what I mean? Okay, so iHUD's done. We're not going to turn on yet. Pumping iron, there's just, you really just see your current body weight is 10 and it's out of 100. And then your current training, as you do things that are physical, this number will go up. And then when you sleep, it converts that number into body weight, is kind of what it amounts to. Real shelter. Whoops. Okay. Toggle real shelter enabled. Again, I don't know that this has really been working. Rain volume, yeah, it's fine how it is. Textures, that's fine. Debug, no. Run for your lives. Whoops. Keep clicking on the wrong thing. Is my mouse right, by the way? Yeah, it's right. It's good. I was having an issue where I was seeing 2 mouse pointers when I went to the edges. Okay, nothing there to really do. Simply knock. Don't think we need to change anything here. Base success rate 50%. That's fine. Yep, that's fine. That's all fine. Profiles, that's no big deal. Sky UI. Font size for the video, I want to be large. I want it to be the standard font. Quantity. Menu, minimum count. Let's do 10. Because I get frustrated with like low numbers and I want it just to do whatever. Yeah, it gets old. So I want to try 10. That's for, let me explain what that is. That's for if you have a group of items and you want to move all of them. At what point does it ask you if you want to move all of them? So at this point, I would have to click 9 times to move a group of 9. But once it hits 10, I would click once and then a 10th time, or a second time. Active effects HUD enabled. Icon size medium's fine. Minimum time left, that's fine. And that's good. Favorite groups is good. Not really worried about this. This is a cool little feature that I'll show you later, how I can hit the left alt to switch tabs between 2 things, between the items and the magic. Okay, that's all good. 3D item. Oh, that's for like the position of the item when you're looking at it. I never really noticed that. Active effects HUD, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about that stuff. The notice board. Haven't looked at this one yet. Bounty settings. Oh, okay, this is just like changing money around. Okay, nope. No need to worry about that. Trade and barter. Again, I'm not really worried about this either. Let's go ahead and start the mod. There we go. Okay. Use custom barter settings. Choose your own custom barter settings. If you change these settings, then toggle them back off. You'll need to save and reload your game to reset the values. Okay. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm assuming it does its thing by me just activating it. So we're just going to leave that on. Unread books glow. Books glow normal. Spell books, skill books, quest books, plain books. Vivid weathers. Never looked at this one either. Particle 750. I haven't had any issues with that. Allow customization. Yes. Night brightness. I think the night brightness is okay. Let's actually leave this for a second since it is nighttime and peek out around. Night bright. It's a little bright. It's a little bright. What does that sound? Oh, that's me up against the rock. It's a let me say it a third time. It's a little bright. So I'm going to bring it down just to play around with this a little bit. We're going to do low. We can change what time night starts, which is cool. Map fix, interior brightness, that's fine. Saturation, I've already got the saturation turned up quite a bit, so I'm not going to mess with that. Bloom, I think it's possible to like, I thought you could change the saturation at night. You know what, maybe I did up that saturation. I don't know. I did it. I'm doing it through the Elgato. That's right. All right. Wet and cold. Wet enabled. We want drips, soggy feet, and rainy blind, which is pretty cool. If you look up at the sky when it's raining, you can get drops of water in your eye. Hoods, cloaks, followers. Go home. NPCs will return home when it rains. I've already got something else to do in that, so we don't need to worry about that. Mode. Summer, winter, default. Okay. It also, rain gear, no Argonians. How cool is that? Because the water doesn't bother them. All right, breaths, first and third person. Blizzard blind. Yeah, let's disable that. It's hard enough to see in a blizzard already. Snowy, strong winds, hoods, all that stuff's good. Breaths, okay. Cold gear, no Nord, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Ashes, survival. It's dusty, watery eyes. This is something in Solstheim. I'm gonna leave that off. That sounds obnoxious. All right, that's fine. Winter Mist and Chance. I don't know why it's in the menu twice, but we're not gonna worry about it. So let's see what the night looks like now. I'm honestly not really noticing that much of a difference, so I'm not too worried. What time is it? Oh, it's not even that dark yet. Well, let's wait a little bit and see how dark it gets. Oh, yeah, that got pretty dark quick. I think that's okay, though. Let's just go peek. We're not playing. We're just going to go peek. I think, I'm looking over at the recording, it does look a little too dark. So let's go back to Vivid Weathers. My brightness normal. Yeah, that's a lot better. I think y'all should have been able to tell the difference there. Cool. All right, guys, I'm so excited. I think we're ready. Let's do this.